Hi! The gods that we today think about as the foundation for Greek mythology are actually part of the last generation of a story that begins a very long time before any of the classic Greek myths actually take place. The Greeks believed that before there was anything, there was one cosmic being called Chaos. We talked about chaos way back in my Air According to Ancient Greece video, and about how after the world was created, she was the air that was breathed on Earth. But before that, the Earth, or Gaia, as the primordial goddess of the Earth was called, spawned into existence shortly after chaos. Gaia then created way more primordial gods, which is basically a god that is literally their divine domain, and this video is about them. Gaia. Gaia spawned into existence shortly after chaos. She was the primordial goddess of the earth and was the mother of the Cyclopses, the Hecatoncheires, the Centaurs, most of the other primordial gods, and most famously the Titans. She was a pretty stereotypical Mother Earth figure, although nowadays we usually think of Mother Earth as being caring and gentle, but in Greek mythology, Gaia was always sort of trying to kill everyone. Usually as punishment for hurting one of the horrific monsters she created, which is sort of fair. Being the mother of the Titans, she was the mother of Kronos and Rhea, who were the king and queen of the world for a hot minute, and after Kronos ate his first 5 children, she helped Rhea hide her last child, Zeus, and she cared for him until he reached adulthood. Zeus did turn out to be one of the worst gods on the entire Greek pantheon, making life significantly worse for every single person around him after defeating his father, but I guess it's the thought that counts. Uranus. Uranus was the first thing Gaia created after spawning into existence. He was the primordial god of the sky and the father of the Cyclopses, the Hecatoncheires, and the Titans. Somewhere along the line, Uranus decided that he didn't like the Cyclopses and the Hecatoncheires, and so he imprisoned them inside of Gaia, causing her terrible pain. And then Gaia had one of her sons, the Titan Kronos, kill Uranus with a scythe. She then made Kronos the new king of the world and put him in charge of ruling over everything. Kronos turned out to be a terrible leader who ate his own children, but I guess it's the thought that counts. Pontus. Pontus was the primordial god of the sea, and he was created by Gaia pretty shortly after Uranus. He didn't really do much, but he was the father of all the fish and the sea creatures and stuff. He also had horns that were crab claws, which is pretty cool. Tartarus. Tartarus was the primordial god of the deepest pit in the underworld, where all of the Titans went after being defeated by Zeus. I believe he was either created by Gaia or just spawned into existence at some unknown time, and he was the father of Typhon. The Aurea. The Aurea were the primordial gods of mountains, and they were the children of Gaia. There were 8 of them, and their names were Aetna, who was a volcano in Sicily, and the mother of the Palasai, the gods of hot water geysers. This mountain was where Hephaestus and the Cyclopses forged Zeus's thunderbolts, and also the place where Typhon was imprisoned after being defeated by Zeus. Athos, a mountain in northern Greece. Helicon, a mountain range in central Greece. There are 2 myths in which he was involved in a music contest. In one myth, Helicon and another mountain, Kithairon, compete to see who is better at music, and after Kithairon won, Helicon ripped a chunk out of Kithairon. In another, a music contest between the Muses and the Pierides was held on Helicon, and when the Muses started singing, Helicon was so moved that he started rising up into the sky, and then Pegasus smacked him with his hoof. Kithairon was the god of the same mountain range as Helicon. Olympus is the one everyone knows. It was the mountain all the gods lived on, and therefore that's where we get the term Olympian. Oreos, which keeps getting autocorrected to Oreos, was a mountain probably somewhere in the Pindus mountain range. He was the father of Oxylos, the daemon of mountain forests, and Hamadryas, the first oak tree nymph. These 2 were the parents of 8 tree nymphs, the Hamadryads. The Hamadryads were Aegiros, the dryad of black poplar, Ampleos, the dryad of vines, Balanus, the dryad of oak trees, Carya, the dryad of nut trees, Crania, the dryad of cherry trees, Morea, the dryad of mulberry trees, Telea, the dryad of elm trees, and Psyche, the dryad of fig trees, not to be confused with Psyche, the goddess of the human soul. Parnes was a mountain god, probably somewhere in northern Greece. Zeus's storm clouds gathered over it, and it was sort of Zeus's second mountain because he definitely needed one. Tmolus was the mountain god of Lydia and Anatolia. In one myth, he was the judge of the contest between Apollo and Pan. In this contest, basically Pan said that he was so good at music, he was better than Apollo, who was the god of music. Apollo apparently took this as a challenge and came down from Mount Olympus and challenged Pan to a music contest with Tmolus as the judge. The fact that all of these primordial gods apparently had nothing better to do than participate in music contests certainly says something. I'm not really sure what, but certainly something. Anyways, Apollo won the contest, obviously, but King Midas, yes, that King Midas, the Golden Touch one, was sitting nearby and said that Pan definitely should have won, and so Apollo said that anyone who thinks that must have the ears of a donkey, and then Midas sprouted the ears of a donkey. In order to hide the donkey ears, Midas wore a turban for pretty much the rest of his life, and the only one who knew about the donkey ears was his barber, who was sworn into secrecy, but one day the secret became so much for the barber to bear that he went out into the middle of nowhere and whispered the secret into a hole. And then reeds grew out of the hole, and every time the wind blew through the reeds, you would hear a voice whisper, "Midas has a donkey's ears! Midas has a donkey's ears!" And that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like the video, share it with someone else who likes mythology, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more of this sort of thing. If you didn't like the video, I don't know what to tell you. See you all in the next one. Bye now.